Today in class we'll be talking about Chapter 9, Spatial Inequality in Mexico City. While we are going over this video, make sure that you have your book and your worksheet out. If at any time you need to pause or stop this video, please do so. You may rewind it as many times as you need. Please open your book now to Chapter 9, Spatial Inequality in Mexico City. You can find the page number for Chapter 9 in your table of contents of your book. By the end of class, you will be able to identify the causes and consequences of spatial inequality in Mexico City. You will also be able to analyze data and maps to draw conclusions about the neighborhoods of Mexico City's federal districts. Don't worry if you don't know what a federal district is at this point. We will be talking about them as we go through this video and the lesson. Right now, you should be opened up to Chapter 9 and looking at Section 1. Now, notice our essential question. Why does spatial inequality exist in urban areas? And that's what we're trying to figure out as we move through this lesson. Read along with me in your book as I read out loud. Ana Romero lives in a poor part of Mexico City. She and her family share a simple two-room house. The house is made of concrete bricks and scraps of wood and cardboard taken from the dump. There is no glass in the windows, and there is no running water. 6 days a week, Anna travels by bus to her job on the other side of the city. She works as a maid in the Alba household. The Albas live in a beautiful 15-room house with a large garden and a swimming pool. To Anna, it seems like a castle. Anna earns $6 for working a 12-hour day. At 7 p.m., as the Albas sit down for a big meal of chicken, meat, or fish, Anna heads home to cook rice and beans for her family. The Albas and the Romeros live just 15 miles apart, but they live in very different worlds. The contrast in their lives is an example of spatial inequality. This is an unequal distribution of wealth or resources over a geographic area. It means that some places within that area are richer or poorer than others. Mexico City offers many examples of spatial inequality. In this chapter, you will learn about the growth of Mexico City as an urban area. You will read about the causes and the effects of city's rapid growth. You will also learn about the spatial inequality that has resulted from the city's expansion. Now, down here at the bottom, in this area right here, you will see that this is an example of the delegaciones of Mexico City, or of the federal districts. Notice that some districts are bigger than others, they have crooked, jagged shapes, and that they're represented in different colors. These different delegaciones are part of Mexico City, and they are an example of spatial inequality. Now, we will be talking about 3 separate ones as we go through this lesson, and you will try to figure out which one is based on which as a result of the information that we have. Please turn to Section 2, the geographic setting. Mexico City is one of the world's largest cities in population. It sits on a highland basin about 7,000 feet above sea level. The basin is called the Valley of Mexico. The valley is surrounded by mountains. It has a mild climate and rich soil. The Valley of Mexico has been an important place of settlement since ancient times. A city of wonders. The Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, the first settlers in the Mexico Valley, arrived thousands of years ago. At the time, several large, shallow lakes covered the valley floor. Small cities later grew up around these lakes. In 1325, a group known as the Aztecs settled on an island of Lake Texcoco, where they founded a city called Tenochtitlan. The Aztecs were great warriors. They soon built a mighty empire. Their city grew too. By the time the Spanish arrived in 1519, Tenochtitlan was one of the greatest cities in the world. Around 200,000 people lived in the Aztec capital. Up to 1 million lived in the Valley of Mexico. Tenochtitlan is a marvelous place. One Spaniard said it was like the enchanted vision from a fairy tale. Great pyramids and temples towered above the city. Fine palaces and homes lined the streets and plazas. Many canals crossed the island. 3 causeways, or raised roads, connected it to the shore. A huge market sold exotic goods from around the empire. The people of Tenochtitlan enjoyed a high standard of living. This term refers to people's overall level of comfort and well-being. A city resident had plenty of food from farming, fishing, and trade. An aqueduct brought in fresh water from the surrounding hills. The houses were well built. People lived in clean, orderly neighborhoods. A bustling national capital, Mexico City. In 1521, the Spanish conquered the Aztec Empire. The Spanish destroyed the Aztec capital. They built the new city in its place. Over time, Mexico City became one of the most beautiful cities in the Americas. In 1821, Mexico won its independence from Spain. Mexico City became the capital of the new country. It continued to grow slowly. By the 1950s, the city was a blend of modern and historic buildings. Broad avenues and tree-filled parks made it a pleasant place to live. Today, Mexico City remains the center of Mexican life, but it is no longer the graceful city of old. In the past 50 years, urbanization or city growth has increased at a rapid rate. In 1970, the city had over 8 million people. 10 years later, it had almost doubled in population. There are now at least 19 million people in Mexico City's metropolitan area. This area includes the city and its suburbs. A key factor in Mexico City's growth in migration from rural migration from rural parts of the country. Many people have moved to the capital city because of rural decline or increasing poverty in the countryside. Life in rural areas is hard, but for many people, the city has become a difficult place to live too, as you will see. At this point, you need to have out your geoterms. You should write down the geoterms. They are in your book in section 2, and you can see they are on this page as well. This is what your geoterms sheet looks like. Please make sure that you fill out the definition in this column, your sentences in this column, and then a symbol, a picture that helps you remember what these are.